Thank you for joining us again. I'm Brother Thomas Lee Harris III, and we are continuing in our verse-by-verse study through the book of 2 Samuel, and we've reached the 4th chapter. Amen. I'm going to jump right into it. It's actually not a long chapter. When Saul's son heard that Abner had died in Hebron, he lost heart, and all Israel was troubled. Now Saul's son had 2 men who were captains of troops. The name of the one was Baanah, and the name of the other was Rechab. The sons of Rimmon, the Beerahite of the children of Benjamin, for Beeroth also was part of Benjamin. Verse 3, because the Beerahites fled to Githaim and have been sojourners there until this day. Jonathan, Saul's son, had a son who was lame in his feet. He was 5 years old when the news about Saul and Jonathan came from Jezreel. And his nurse took him up and fled. And it happened, as she made haste to flee, that he fell and became lame. His name was Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth. We're going to mark that. All right? We're going to mark that. It's a very important young man. So that was verse 4. So verse 5. Then the sons of Rimmon, the Beerahite, and Rechab, and Baanah set out and came at about the heat of the day to the house of Mephibosheth, who was lying on his bed at noon. And they came there all the way into the house, as though to get wheat, and they stabbed him in the stomach. Then Rechab and Baanah his brother escaped. Verse 7. For when they came into the house, he was lying on his bed in his bedroom. Then they struck him and killed him, beheaded him and took his head, and were all night escaping through the plain. Verse 8. And they brought the head of Mephibosheth to David at Hebron, and said to the king, Here is the head of Mephibosheth, the son of Saul, your enemy, who sought your life. And the Lord has avenged my lord the king this day of Saul and his descendants. But David answered Rechab and Baanah his brother, the sons of Rimmon, the Beerahite, and said to them, As the Lord lives, who has redeemed my life from your adversity? Verse 10. When someone told me, saying, Look, Saul is dead, thinking to have brought good news, I arrested him and had him executed in Ziklag. And the one who thought I would give him a reward for the good news. How much more when wicked men have killed a righteous person in his own house on his bed? Therefore shall I not now require his blood at your hand and remove you from the earth? So David commanded, and this is verse 12. So David commanded his young men, and they executed them, cut off their hands and feet, and hanged them by the pool of Hebron. But they took the head of Mephibosheth and buried it in the tomb of Abner in Hebron. Amen. And that concludes the 4th chapter in this 2nd book of Samuel. And we're seeing that there's a pattern that David established, in the pattern of righteousness, in doing the right thing always. And one thing that David has never done, who God has appointed, because the house of Saul were brethren, were Israelites. So David recognizes God's appointment to the throne, and doesn't go out of his way to kill them. But people keep thinking they're doing him a favor, and he keeps rewarding them with the same wickedness. He returns the favor to them. Amen. So that concludes the 4th chapter in the book of 2 Samuel. Amen.